when I first got to
Welcome back here to the Mountain Morning Show. Right now, I am very excited to have some faculty from the Silver Summit Academy with me here to talk about their brand new facilities that just opened up to all of their students. Right now, I have Jeff here, who is the principal. Hi. Annie, you are the lead teacher here of kind of the middle school, junior high. And then we also have Louise, who is the elementary principal, and Dari, who is an elementary teacher. Thank you all for joining us here on the Mountain Morning Show. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Jeff, start with you right away. Let's talk about these brand new facilities that just opened up. What does this mean for you guys and your students?
Well, it means that we're able to now deliver our vision because the facility is designed with the type of school we are. We're a blended school. So the facilities allow us to become that blended school where we have space for experiential learning. We have space where our children can work in diverse groups within the same classroom. It gives us an opportunity to create something different. You know, from the very start, one of the things we wanted was to create a building that didn't look like a school. That's sort of what we're trying to step away from. The goal was to sort of have a Google meets a startup sort of facility,
okay.
and so I think we've achieved that, and I think it gives a whole new energy to education.
So obviously this is with collaboration and creativity all in mind, right? You guys are kind of trying to set the environment, to set the tone for kind of the modern job, the modern age that we're moving into with career paths and stuff like that. Annie, I want to talk to you about, as a teacher, from a teacher's perspective, what is this? Is this just great for you to have these brand new facilities? Does it make you excited to teach?
Oh, absolutely. So we just opened the building about 2.5 weeks ago. So up till now we've been working out of 2 locations down in Camas, so South Summit School District. So moving into a new building is wonderful. New facilities, new classrooms, stretch our legs a little bit. You know, we've been working out of maybe 2 or 3 classrooms. Now we have an entire building to work with. We also have access to our new maker space, so we have access to more opportunities for students to learn and grow and be creative. And kind of what you were saying, we're kind of looking, you know, to educate the 21st century learner. And in a new building like this, new facilities, it makes it a lot easier to do that. Just the options are endless.
And Louise, you guys are kind of a unique school in the sense that you had mentioned you're blended, Jeff, and that means you guys have all the way from K to 12, right, in one building. And you guys, the curriculum is a little bit different as well. Can you speak about how that has changed in the elementary perspective?
Yeah, I can. Actually, the curriculum is still standards-based, but the students are able to do it differentiated, so it's very individualized.
Okay.
We also, like this year, we've had K2 students together and 3-5 students together. So it's not like you have a first grade group and a second grade group and a third grade group. It's based on their needs. Next year, what is going on at our school and uploaded online will be an exact match. And so if a student is missing from school, they'll be able to access that at home and do exactly the same thing so that they're not missing anything at all.
That's fantastic. I know one of the hardest parts about being sick at school is missing that day. It's so hard. You don't want to miss because you realize that one day is about 1 week's worth of work, right? So you're going to be super behind. So to give kids that opportunity to make sure that they don't fall behind, I think is big, because I think a lot of the time when you fall behind, you get discouraged to kind of keep up, right? And you kind of want to dip out and kind of check out of that whole space. So to keep in that zone and keep the learning going is a very, very good thing. Dari, I want to turn to you. And is your background in this kind of style of teaching, or is this the first school that you've taught at that has this style?
Yes and yes and yes.
Yes and yes and yes. Excellent.
I have a lot of experience working with different learning environments, and either through student pedagogy or through small groups or through preschool, integrated curriculum, and then I also have some experience in the dual immersion. But it's really fun to be able to not be locked into the same mold, because we can sit down and collaborate and say, wait, our kids need this, let's do it. Instead of, well, they're stuck in this classroom. Instead, we can say, you know what, little Johnny here needs to be in this group, or Susie Q needs to be in another. It's very fluid, our groupings, as she said. It's not, here's the kindergarten room, or here's the first grade or the second grade. It's, oh, this is where the child is. For this group, they're here. And they don't even associate that they're moving, because we do it so often that they're just like, okay, I'm working with my peers, and they don't realize that they're getting enrichment or remediation or extra support. They're just they're
just
learning.
loving to learn, right?
Yeah.
And I love that you said that it's fluid, because I think you guys are moving away from a very binary system, right? This is the way it has to happen. This is yes and no. And I think we're moving into a world that's becoming less and less binary, and it's becoming, the nuances of everyday life are becoming more apparent, right? So the fact that you guys are blending that into schooling from a very young age, I think is very important. Jeff, I'm going to turn back to you for this. You guys are taking the priority to kind of do the hybrid style teaching, right? So kind of online as a mix with in-person learning, which with my own college experience, I've known that about 70 to 80% of my classes at the University of Utah have merged to this kind of hybrid style. So obviously this is where education is headed. Why is it a priority for you guys to start that from a young age?
Well, one of the, I think the most effective things about that blended style is that it liberates the teacher. If we're delivering sort of the baseline content, and what I like to say is we leverage technology. We never intend to replace a teacher with a computer. It simply won't work. I mean, Dari and Annie are professional teachers. They make thousands of decisions in a 20-minute period. They're always working. So we leverage the computer to deliver that content, which liberates the teacher to deliver personalized learning. And if you think back to anyone's educational experience, everyone has that one or two teachers that really touched them.
Absolutely.
And it was usually a personal experience. That teacher reached you on a personal level. And what we're doing is giving our teachers time to establish those personal communications, those personal educational opportunities that don't always exist in a traditional classroom.
So as a teacher, Annie, do you feel that you are more free to establish these personal connections, that you have more time to really dive into the person that you're teaching here, rather than just, the lessons that you're teaching?
I think for me personally, no matter where I've taught, I've definitely always kind of gravitated to more that kind of personalized teacher to really get to know my students and have a personal connection with them. I think I just kind of carried that over to Silver Summit. And of course, smaller classroom sizes, smaller classes in general, makes the personal connection just easier in general because there's not as many students. However, I think what is nicer about a new kind of curriculum, a new experience, blended learning, is that I'm building it from the ground up. So for this year, for the first time, I was teaching history courses. And I was able to really take those courses, look at the standards and say, okay, well, where do I want to take this class? Who are my students? How many do I have? What do I want to do? And I did a lot more project-based learning instead of, a lot of lectures or videos, but those were also there. So I feel like for me as a teacher, it's a freedom to be more creative with my classroom, again, due to the small classroom size, for example, or just through the different technology we have access to. But for me, I think wherever I was teaching, I would definitely gravitate to be more the personalized kind of teacher. And that's why I think I have enjoyed working at Silver Summit so much, because the focus of the school really fits in with my personal mantra of just how I'm a teacher.
Of how you teach and how your style of teaching. Dari and Louise, I want to ask you about how do you think that starting this kind of curriculum from a very young age, you guys do this from the kindergarten level, what does that benefit, what benefit does that provide to the students when they head on into these upper level education, whether it be high school or secondary, post-secondary education in college?
Well, we were just talking about that before we came in here.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're building independent learners.
Yes.
Yesterday, our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade were doing some amazing project-based learning experiences, and they were independent and they knew what they wanted to do to improve. So they take it personally upon themselves. Another thing that's really helped us this year, though, is we have a great relationship with parents. They come in and they talk to us, and we have built our program with the help and support of parents, because they are such an integral part of our education process. And so it's critical to know what they're thinking, what works for them, what we might need to tweak and change. We've done that constantly this year, and we're going to have a meeting next week and get even more input so that we can even change and grow for next year.
Further
in the way
adapt
we need to.
further adapt the style of the school.
Continually adapting.
That's fantastic, and I think that schools have been for a long time, not that they've been doing bad by any means, but they've been stuck in a kind of a binary system, and they need to adapt to the modern learning style of the way that kids are learning and taking on information. Jeff, I want to ask you, if there's parents here in Park City who are interested and say, this style of learning is exactly what I think my child needs, is it possible to send kids down to your academy from people who live here in Park City School District?
Absolutely. We have a website, ssa.education, and from there you can join our waiting list. We have the opportunity for people to come and tour and see our building and see what it is that we do, to meet with us personally so we can discuss the educational fit and the advantages of our school, or, you know, and for some students just to get an understanding. You know, we're still educating the community on what we are, so that's really the best way to reach us is to go to our website.
Go to the website.
Yep.
Excellent. Jeff, Annie, Louise, and Dari, I thank you all for coming on the show today and letting us know about your fantastic school and all the great work that you guys are doing. I applaud you on that.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Pleasure
Chris.
meeting you. We have much more to come here on the Mountain Morning Show, and as Jeff said, head over to ssa.education for more information there. We'll be right back.